All right, welcome everybody. So this is going to be the first episode in a new series called Why We Hunt. So we're going to try to get to the bottom of the question of why we trophy hunt, achievement hunt, and things of that nature, if it's affected our gaming styles and whatnot. So we're going to try to talk to a variety of types of gamers that all have dealt with achievements and trophies in some sense. So first episode, so it might be a little sloppy, a little rough. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can hammer down the setup and whatnot and things. So but anyways, thanks for tuning in. And episode 1, we got a well, you want to introduce yourself? Guest number 1?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Nitro, or Nitro X as some people might know me as. I'm an Australian trophy hunter, and I've been doing it for I'd say about 10 years now. So on PlayStation exclusively, I should say.
All right, so
Not a lot more that I really have to say about myself.
all right. Well, we'll try to figure out more about you, I guess. So, when did gaming start for you? You said trophy hunting started about 10 years ago. When did you first start gaming?
Um, well, I've always been gaming ever since I was about 3 years old. Usually on those flash educational games that you see online. So I started on those, but when I really started getting into AAA games was around about 2006, 2007. When Call of Duty 4 was releasing, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, that sort of thing. So I was back on PC then, and in about 2010, I think it was, or early 2009, somewhere around there. My dad bought a PS3 and got a few games then, and pretty much went from there.
So, did you start trophy hunting as soon as they came out then?
No. So the Trophy Patch came out in 2008, I think. So no, I was late to the game in that one. So I haven't been hunting as long as some of the other guys out there, but I'm reaching up to their ranks slowly but surely.
And well, when you first started, even on PS3 with the trophies, were you like hardcore? I mean,
So
you try leaderboard stuff right now, right? I mean,
yeah,
I mean,
correct.
I see, you got 1,172 platinums, so you must be playing some games that are far, far from AAA. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah. That's definitely true. No, when I started, I was more just a casual gamer, if you will. I was playing, I was just playing Call of Duty, FIFA with my friends and stuff like that. I didn't even know trophies existed until I met this guy online, and he started telling me about trophies and stuff like that. And I think it was back on Modern Warfare 2 where he started telling me about, and pretty much he told me about how you can get these trophies and replay it on the highest difficulty and stuff like that, get more out of your games. And so that's kind of what helped me get along. So I was told by him, he helped me get the platinum for Modern Warfare 2, and then I was like, well, what else can I get?
so what
So
kind?
that's what started it.
So you started off kind of a casual trophy hunter.
Absolutely, yeah.
What kind of would you consider yourself now? Just hardcore,
Um,
play all the garbage, or just
I go through phases. I find I go through phases. So there'll be times where, like for example, I recently platinumed The Last of Us Part Two, and straight after that game, I think the next day I got like 7 spam plats that I'd just been stacking up, that had just been waiting there for like the week or 2 weeks it took me to plat the game. So like I usually, for every milestone, so every 50 odd plats, I usually do a AAA game or a game that requires more attention than just 15 minutes. But then, the rest of the 49 platinums in between, one milestone and the next is usually just filler garbage or, rather like roguelike games like Wood Games, Telltale Games. They're not all garbage, but trophy trash, as some people like to dub them.
And what would you think is the reason that you play good stuff only at the milestones? Like, what's the motivation to make your milestones look representable or look better, I guess?
Well, the main trophy tracking site I use is PSN Profiles. So if you go into PSN Profiles and go into anyone's profile, you'll see on the sidebar there that all their milestones are stacked up, and it's just milestone after milestone after milestone. And so I think for that fact, I want to make my profile look to anyone who views it. I want to make it look like I still play the games I'm enjoying, and still play some AAA games that people know, like for example, Crisis, or even some more obscure games that I just enjoy, like Project Diva and stuff like that. So I like to make the games that I like always represented on that sidebar on PSN Profiles. While I can still keep up with the leaderboards.
So the leaderboard is definitely a big motivation for you, trophy-wise, then.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I don't think I'd be playing a lot of Chinese, Korean, and Japanese games if I didn't care about leaderboards.
Might be a difficult question. Do you know why you care about leaderboards?
I've always been a competitive person, so I mean, whether it's on multiplayer games, PvP games, leaderboards, anything like that, I've always been competitive, and I always want to reach that next level. So that's a big reason why I care so much about the leaderboards, and especially like with stuff that isn't hacked or is highly moderated, like the trophy leaderboards on PSN Profiles and PSN Trophy Leaders, or whatever website you want to use. These are usually highly curated and moderated, I should say. So it's a board I feel like I can keep progressing up without having, in a year, without having the board completely ruined by hackers and things like that, like it usually is in, say, Call of Duty.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of like team accounts and things of that nature, though.
Yeah, but there are rules and things like that. So team accounts are allowed, and I know like in the top 10, there's like I think there's like 6 or 7 team accounts up there. So like I know that, but since that is in the rules that that is allowed to happen, I kind of just take it and be like, you know what, I can get as high as I can personally. And I mean, I've even overtaken some team accounts that are lower than me. So I mean, it's possible to still overtake them as one person. But I feel like it's more fair because it's not going to get hacked. Someone's going to be like trophy level 500, that we've never seen before. It's just not going to happen. So I feel like if like they've got rules that are set there, so if we all follow them, it's more fair. That kind of makes sense.
Since you're heavy on the leaderboard side of things, does it bother you, or maybe bother you is not the right word, but the fact that the leaderboard's becoming more and more who can just play all of the 5-10 minute plats that come out, as opposed to what it used to.
Yeah, it has bothered me for, I reckon, the past. In 2019, I didn't care so much about it, but this year I've definitely started to get tired of just playing the 1 hour games, the 30-minute games, and everything like that. I've definitely gotten bored of it, but I mean the competitive side is what keeps me there. But I would rather go back to the days, in what is it, like 2015, 2016, where Ratalaika and all those games, the 1 hour games were like very rare, or they come out every 2 or 3 months you'd get a new 1 hour game, and everyone rushed to do that. But then they go back to doing like their longer games. Their even 5 hour games would be like a short game back then. I feel like it's only in the past 3 or 4 years that it's really gotten bad.
You feel like it's getting worse and worse as time progresses?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we've got like East Asia Soft,
Yeah.
that are putting out 15-minute bullet hell games. they're a Rattalacker who's putting out their 15-minute platinums like they always have
Like
been.
every week.
Yeah, every week. And I feel like even Lightwood games are getting shorter, or
Yeah.
at least adding more trophies to them to make them feel more rewarding. So, like, I know I point out those three companies in like specifically, but there are a lot more that are pushing out fast games and things like that.
Now, if these games didn't have super fast trophies, what percentage of them would you actually play?
I don't know what percentage I would I wouldn't play.
Like,
Um,
would you
but
play maybe 1 out of every 10 that comes? Like, just naturally, if trophies didn't exist for the spammy plats and stuff, like the ones you don't even have to finish and whatnot, would you even touch them? Because I
not
personally
a lot of them.
wouldn't touch most of them. I mean, there are
Yeah.
some that I think are legitimately good, and
Oh,
fun,
100%. They definitely are.
but for the most part, there's a lot that I would not even give a second thought to, um, if I found it in a online store.
Yeah. Personally, like games like Concept Destruction. What's some of the others that I've played? Inksplosion, 36 Fragments of Midnight. Um, I'm trying to think of that one that I just played. Rush Rover. Like all those games, I would actually play because I enjoy those games. But games like back in 1995 or whatever that third-person tank control game was,
Yeah.
absolutely hated that. Dreading doing the other 6 stacks or whatever I've got left of it. And Paradox Soul, Metagal, those games just aren't what I usually play. And so I wouldn't play those if I just found them on the storefront. If they didn't have super fast trophies and you didn't only have to play 15 minutes.
Now, see, actually, I think I would play Metagal more, if it
Yeah,
wasn't
but you're
so
a Mega
fast.
Man fan, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
I know.
sense.
So there's bias there. Well, what kind of genres? I probably should ask this earlier, but genres you would like to ideally play?
the, the genres that I usually play, I'm assuming is what the question was.
Yeah, I just
Yeah, so
worded it in a very strange manner.
yeah, no, that's fine. Um, well, shooters is obviously my go-to game or game type, game mode, whatever you want to genre, I should say. That's what I'm most comfortable in. That's where my first platinum was. That's where a lot of my platinums are. And so, shooters is definitely one. Racing games, I'd say I'm above average at racing games, and I quite enjoy them, especially like open world racing games. They're a lot of fun. So I'd say probably those two. Third person shooters as well, like the Uncharted games and things like that, are also up there. And I guess Splinter Cell as well would be a third person shooter, but also like stealth games and things like that. I also quite enjoy.
Would you say that I don't know, like AAA Sony exclusive games and stuff like that, like AAA things of that nature?
Yeah, yeah, I do like a lot of AAA games, but I also like games that have a really good story as well. So if a story is enough to get me engaged, then I'll usually play it. So, for example, The Walking Dead had a really good story. It's not AAA, but it got me it got me feeling for the characters so much that I'm pre-ordering the next season. I'm going through it. I'm buying it multiple times, even though the fourth and fifth times I'm not necessarily enjoying the game, but it's still a story that I enjoy going through. And like especially when you can get different endings and things like that, or make choices, that's also a reason I like to replay games to see how different things turn out.
Would you have replayed it if there was not stacks of it?
Maybe once, but apart from that, probably not.
Okay. The other question, kind of related to that, was how do you feel when you play anything for like the sixth time? Even if I really
Um,
like the game, I would. I don't know about
bored
six
out of my
times.
mind usually.
What
So
was that?
bored out of my mind usually.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like head on the desk waiting for it to end. But like so games like Modern Warfare 2, which I've 100%ed about six to eight times, I reckon. I've 100% of that game either on different accounts for people or just on PC, on PS4, on PS3 as well. I really enjoy that game, really enjoy the story, and enjoy going through it. If it's every so often, I don't like going through a game where, like, if I'm replaying it back to back to back to back, I'm gonna get sick of any game. But if I'm doing it over a space of time, it's different. I feel
A lot of these
so.
like
Like,
these
sorry,
spam
go on.
plats and stuff we do kind of back to back to back. So um,
Yeah, which is why I'm like, for example, Epic Word Search Collection. I had all day to do it today, and I've just been putting it off because I did it last night. So yeah, I don't like doing them back to back because I don't know, it just bores me really like a lot, and I feel like that's not what gaming should be doing.
yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, where I mean I was doing leaderboard stuff, and it's just like all these. It's almost like a chore. You have to do all the garbage stuff because you have to. Well, for you, you want to move up on the leaderboard. For me, it's if I don't do it, I drop down. Um,
Yeah, well, I mean, you're kind of in a predicament there.
yeah,
I've still got a lot more VNs to do before I even start scraping your caliber on the leaderboard.
but
But
I mean, you've probably known this that I've contemplated throwing it away a lot and just
of course,
questioning
yeah.
questioning why the heck I bother. And that's part of the reason I wanted. Well, this series came to my mind. But do you ever think about that? Just giving it up?
Nah,
No,
never.
not at this point, at least.
No. So look, don't get me wrong. I do a lot of spam and I do a lot of games that are questionable. Hannah Montana comes to mind straight away, and soon Barbie's Puppy Rescue that also comes to mind. I've got that on the way, so can't wait to play that. But no, I usually have a game where I'll keep going back to it, so I don't burn out. So what I usually have is that I usually have a game. So at the moment it's the newest Modern Warfare that came out. So I usually keep going back to that. I keep playing that just so I don't burn myself out on playing the stuff to keep up on the leaderboard, if that makes sense. So I play say I do 4 plats in a day. I'll haul it there and I'll play Modern Warfare, or I'll play a longer game that I'm grinding the trophies away slowly on. Like I'm currently doing that on Rainbow Six Siege. So I'll slowly grind away at a game that I'm enjoying, or I'll just go straight to the multiplayer on Modern Warfare because that's something that I'm enjoying. And if I can get trophies along the way, that's also great.
Well, yeah, you say
So I
you're
feel
you're enjoying it,
so
but I guess I question, and I question this myself too, for the suffering, if you want to call it that. Maybe it's not
sure.
that dramatic of a word, but is it worth playing games that we don't like to keep up on the leaderboard when we can 100% of the time just play only games we like?
It depends on your mindset, honestly. So since my mindset is like I've got a goal in mind that I want to achieve, and if you know me, you know that I want to get high on the Australian leaderboards specifically. I don't care so much for the world rank because, as you said before at the start, there's a lot of teams up there. There's a lot of people who are using, let's say, unorthodox methods of getting trophies. Um, so I want to get high on the Australian leaderboards, and so I've got a goal set in mind. So I would say yes, but for other people who are just doing it just to stay up on the leaderboards with no real goal in mind, then I'd probably say it's not worth it for them unless they are actually genuinely unless they genuinely like to play those shorter games and don't necessarily care much for stories and things like that.
Yeah, well,
Because
there's also the aspect though. Once you get that high up, you it kind of feels like I spent all this time and all this stuff to try to get up there, and now I got to maintain it. I mean, I know you're still climbing, and when I was still climbing, I had a lot more fun with the climbing aspect. But it's just been for years trying to just not slip down and trying to keep up with all the garbage. Um, I guess.
well, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that, but also, as I said, it depends on your mindset as well. Even when you're up there, like near the top or at the top, so like like Rough Dog, for example, I assume thinks of it as like defending his number one spot, for example, or whoever's number one in Australia. So what's his name? Ex Cyberpunk, I think his name is. He's probably thinking of defending his spot at the top of the leaderboards rather than playing to maintain his rank. That's how I think those people think, and that's how I think I would want to think when I get up the top. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you mean. You said you didn't. I guess that wouldn't be much of a question then for you, because you said you were not thinking about throwing it all away. Because I was one
No,
of the things that I would think about throwing it all away is just that lost cause fallacy, maybe if you will, of I put so much work into it, want to try to keep that or whatever, not throw all those hours and whatnot away. Um,
yeah. When I was about level 40, I reckon, I did think of starting a new account and like going for like a 100% completion account, but I decided against it. I figured I have too many platinums that are unobtainable now. I've put in a lot of hours to get certain trophies like the Travel Bug World Beater, where you have to be at the top of the leaderboard for that trophy and stuff like that. That is just unobtainable now, so I decided against it. I
what
think
game was that in?
Travel Bug. It
Oh,
was a Vita game that I think maybe was only in the EU regions, but it pretty much used near and you fling bugs across the world, and it was a terrible game.
I thought I
But
I thought the trophy was called Travel Bug. Okay, the game is
no,
Travel Bug.
no, the game is actually called Travel Bug. The trophy is something like World Beater or something like that. Um, it was only a 100% game, but it took hours, like hundreds of hours, and late night flinging bugs between me and Spain, for example, in a PS messages group with people that hardly spoke English. So but things like that. I just thought, you know what, I've put so much effort into this account. I've stuck with this name as well for so long. There's no point in starting over. I'm just going to keep going. Plus, it shows my gaming history as well. No point switching between accounts, going, oh, this was me from 2010 to 2015, and from 2015, this is my new account. It just didn't seem worth it to me.
I switched names. um,
Yeah, like this is before the name switch as well,
yeah,
and but even now, I'm just like, I wouldn't switch my name even if you paid me for it, just because, like, I don't know, all my gaming history and a lot of my other accounts are linked to the Nitro name, if you will.
yeah, I gotcha. All right, so leaderboard's a big aspect for you. I guess uh, with that with that mindset and stuff, I assume you said you play Call of Duty on other systems, but other than that, do you think trophies kind of just keep you locked to PlayStation? Like, would you be playing on other systems had if trophies didn't exist, I should say.
No, no, I've always been a PlayStation person ever since young age. Like I never owned a PlayStation 1, but I used to go over to my friend's house and he had a PlayStation 1. And then, the first console I ever bought was a PlayStation 2. I had lots of games for that. And then, when PlayStation 3 came out, all my friends were on that. And, now PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, all my friends that I've gathered over the years are on PlayStation. So I don't feel like I'm locked in per se. I go where my friends go usually. That was the theory back then anyway. And so I feel like if I was going to switch to Xbox or Nintendo or anything like that, I would have done that already. So no, I don't feel like I'm locked to PlayStation. I want to be on PlayStation because A, that's where all my friends are, and B, that's where I personally think the best exclusives are as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, I was very gung ho when I was super into trophies, like mad, like they were my life. It was like I could not pick up anything that did not have trophies 'cause it was just a complete waste of time. So
I
you
do
would
feel like that sometimes though.
what was that?
I was gonna say I do feel like that sometimes though. Like even when I'm playing Call of Duty, I'm like, oh, I could be playing, The Walking Dead for the seventh time to keep getting trophies, but then some 12-year-old starts trash talking me and I forget all about it. And then next thing I know, it's midnight and I've got to go to bed for work in the morning.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I feel like it's one of the reasons I stay on PlayStation. I know a
Yep.
lot of people that probably listen to this are more hardcore PlayStation now, which I used to be, but I mean the AAA games and stuff and the stuff you listed, not really my type of genres.
Well, I mean,
But
aren't you known as like Mr. Cutscene Skipper? Isn't that you?
skippity doo dah, yeah. Well, I was gonna get to that too. But the well, let's get on that because now you derailed my train of thought,
Oh,
which
my
is
apologies,
perfectly
mate.
fine. But so did trophies change the way that you played games? And I guess what I
Uh,
mean by this is, say there's a good game that you would typically play, but the plat you can get in 20 minutes, even though the game is like multiple hours long and stuff. Um,
how long are we talking? Because that would change my answer.
eh,
So let me use The Last of Us 2 as an example since it is the last game I played, or the last AAA game I played, which you can apply this to. So so you have to do 1.5 playthroughs of the game, and pretty much the 1.5 playthroughs in the first, the roadmap on PowerPix's website anyway, says on the first run through, get all collectibles, um, get all upgrades, do all this, and do it on very easy because it will take you like 20 hours to do the story or 25 hours to do the story. But because The Last of Us is a game that I enjoyed, like the first one anyway, I was like, no, I'm gonna do it on medium. I'm not gonna follow a guide. I'm just gonna play it blind and then go through it. Once I stopped enjoying the game, then that's when I was like, all right, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm gonna follow a guide just so I can get through it. But yeah, so like for example, when I stopped enjoying the game, that's when I started following a guide so I can make the plat shorter. However, if I was, going through the game and I was enjoying the game the whole way through, I wouldn't have used a guide on the first run through. And regardless, I still was playing on medium difficulty, which was obviously going to make my time spent with the game longer. I think I spent an extra 10 hours with the game than was estimated if I played on very easy compared to medium. So
okay, so you don't
kind of answer.
if it's a good game that you feel like you're gonna like and stuff, you don't go the easiest, fastest route just to plat it as fast as you can.
Right, that's
Okay.
right.
Because I guess I have that issue where it's like, well, this is a good game. Like, I think I would play everything on like the hardest difficulty. otherwise. But most of the games nowadays, you just play on the easiest, and you don't have to finish a lot of them, or 100% a lot of them. Uh, Now that was with The Last of Us, but I'd say like in general, you just try to follow collectible guides and whatnot and get through them as fast as you can. We'll just talk like average game, not the trophiest of trophy trash or the trashiest of trophy trash, and not like game of the year quality.
All right. No, I usually it all depends if I'm enjoying the game really. Like with um, the Division, for example, or Burnout Paradise, those games I played for hours and finished the game and did them on the hardest difficulty that I could. Before I started looking at collectible guides and following guides to get the trophies and things like that. So if it's like just a game I'm enjoying, then I'm going to not follow a guide from the very start. However, if it's a game where I'm in and out for the trophies, that's when I'll follow a guide. Or when I stop enjoying a game, that's also when I'll follow a guide.
So like you do extra exploration and all that stuff if you're just playing it without a guide.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um,
I hate to bring it up again, but like for example, with The Last of Us, again, could have followed a guide to know where all the supplies and parts were, but I was doing all the exploration. I found some of the collectibles myself. I found all one particular collectible because I was doing so much exploration, and that's also why it took me, that extra 10 hours on top of the playthrough that I could have gone through.
yeah, for me, I feel like all games would just be more enjoyable if I wasn't using a guide. Even like some of these just pure puzzle games. I mean,
Yeah,
it kind of just ruins them if you just use a guide. It's just kind of, all right, let me buy this game, play this game, just so I can copy what someone does in a video.
yeah.
Or
Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. I just played Jump Step Step, which is a puzzle game where you need to give like your little robot friend particular commands to get to a particular area, and throughout the whole game you need to play it and get all perfect moves and not miss or die or have to reset. So you have to get it all perfect. And I was following a bad driver guide, and it took me 2 hours, where it would have taken me a lot longer had I been playing it by myself.
yeah, but would you have even played it by yourself?
Well, that's the thing. Probably not.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even know the game existed,
yeah,
and I
um,
probably wouldn't have done the second stack of it as well, which I just did. So
yeah. I feel like a lot of these trophy trash games, no one would even touch otherwise. Um, and then yeah, I feel like a lot of it's just copy moves, especially like video guides and stuff. Just mirror what I'm doing on the screen. I don't know. It just makes it seem like just such a
same.
mindless task. Like we're climbing the leaderboard by doing just mindless things at this point. But um,
Well, I mean, the same can be said for like VNs as well, because all you're doing is following text on a screen that someone's written,
yeah, exactly.
and pick option two, pick option one. Now seen skip 3 times. It's pretty ridiculous. How much
How
guides
much
will impact this.
non-gaming we do to earn trophies.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I was just boosting a game with some friends, and while I'm just sitting there tapping X so I can stay, active in the lobby, I'm doing a VN on my Vita. So I mean, I'm playing 2 games at once, but at the same time, I'm not playing any game.
Yeah, I mean, it almost just feels like a chore to me at times. Like I don't know. Part of the reason that goes through my head is like I started questioning why the heck I do it, why the heck other people do it. Because I see, I mean, you're on Twitter and stuff like that too.
Yep.
How do you feel about people posting plats about, oh, I finished, uh, I don't know, name the latest Red Like a VN or something. Um,
Well, I mean,
does
like,
it impress you? Does it just feel
no,
like, oh, what? That was not that
no.
much
So
work.
it, no. So like for me, when I think it's called GC or GC, or I don't know how to pronounce it. One of the VNs that came out recently, which I did the guide for. For that, for example, I posted when I platinumed that, and I said, "Oh, you can find my guide here." So that was more self-advertising, if anything. Um, Occasionally, I'll post like plats that don't impress people, but I mean, I get so many in a short span of time. I feel like I'd just be annoying people if I posted every single plat I got. And I mean, I've got my trophy page linked on my Twitter, so if people really want to see what I'm playing, then they can go onto that, I guess. You know.
Yeah. Well, going back to your milestone thing and your trophy page, if they open up your trophy page, they're gonna see that this is the majority of these games are not good.
No, but like also for me, like I do it for me as well. Like I've got like I've been accused of hacking trophies and things like that in the past, and so what I did to pretty much stick it up them, if you will, is I got all the access denied platinums in a row, which is platinum hacker, and I've got them all in a row on my in my milestones, just as a funny way of saying I don't hack trophies, but like I also do it for me. So I've got the Last of Us milestones. I've got the Call of Duty milestones. All those different games. So as much as it is for other people to see that I do play other games, even though a majority of is rubbish, I do it for me as well. And I
So,
know a lot of people probably say that, but it's true. If I didn't care about my milestones, and I know some people don't, then there'd just be a random Japanese trophy.
now do you care about other people's trophies? Like, do you care? Take Rough Dog for example. Do you care at all about his rank? Like, oh man, that guy's so awesome. He's got number one in the world. Like, do you care about others on the leaderboard in that regard? Not in the regard of like you versus them rank wise, but in regard of, oh man, I mad respect for them. Like, oh, I wish I could be them or whatever. Like, does that matter to you?
When I was when I wasn't even close to the top 50, like going back quite a few years now, I was like, oh man, like major props to them for being them. I wish I could be up as high as them and stuff like that. But as you get closer, you realize that they're just like you and me. They're just regular people that like to play games, and they're not necessarily they don't have more internet fame, or I guess they kind of do in our little community. Um, but they're just normal people like you and I. So I don't want to be them or anything like that. Um, but I do give props to people who are up the top of the leaderboards who can maintain that and keep it going throughout years and years and years of work.
But you don't like
Like I
idolize them or anything anymore. But
no,
you used to.
used to, yeah. I feel like a lot of people who get into trophies, that's how they start. They start by idolizing the people on the first page of the world rank leaderboards, for example, and be like, oh man, look at all these guys. You know, how much respect I have for them. But as you get closer, you realize, and you get to know them, especially. You realize that they're just nice people, and some you even consider friends if you get to
Well,
that point.
not all of
So
them are the nicest.
not all of them. Some of them are,
The jerks.
yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. um, but yeah, so some of them are jerks, but others are nice people. I mean, for example, I don't think you're a jerk. We're friends,
Well,
so
thank you. I appreciate it. You're not a jerk either.
I appreciate that.
Um,
Lots of other people say otherwise, but you get that.
yeah, people just don't know. Like, from stuff online, I've really come to realize that that's one of the things I have learned throughout all this experience, too. A lot of the people are just not who you think they are. Um,
No,
and just, yeah, it almost feels like even part of it is it's hard for me to trust anyone online at this point. There's a few exceptions to that, but just very,
you feel like you
very.
get used.
Um, I mean, I think part of it too is me being up there. It's just not. It doesn't feel like that impressive to me anymore, if that makes sense. And I
Yeah,
remember idolizing people like when I first started trophy hunting too, and being like, oh man, and stuff. But I mean, you brought up a good point, and that's kind of how I feel too. And I'm thinking that like people high up on the leaderboard, and probably shouldn't even say that, but like talking with like Rough Dog and stuff, I kind of feel like he kind of feels the same way. It's kind of just like, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's once you're there and you do it, it just doesn't seem that impressive. Like, um,
no, yeah. Well, I definitely understand where you're coming from and where he'd be coming from as well. Um, but as I said, it goes back to the mentality thing of like, yes, you can think of either as I've conquered it, I've done it, I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, I'm done with it, or you can think of it kind of like those fight night round four belts, where it's like, oh, I need to hold these for as long as I can, so no one else gets them. So like people like on the leaderboard go, I need to hold this spot so no one else can get it, and I need to keep, getting them all, or getting higher on the leaderboard. Same sort of analogy.
yeah.
So I mean, as I said, all goes back to mindset, and
All right.
that's
So,
how I feel a lot of people are.
what was that?
I was just gonna say that's how I feel a lot of people are. Who stay higher up on the leaderboards, and I wouldn't even be surprised if that's how you felt at some point in time as well. Or would I be mistaken in saying that?
That I just have to maintain it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that like you can't let anyone have it.
I still feel kind of that way. I feel like, um, it's kind of like my thing, I guess. Like I put in all this work, and now I got there, and
I'd be ashamed to give it up.
yeah, and it's almost like, can I make something out of it? Was there a point? I mean, did I learn stuff from? I certainly learned stuff from it.
Mm.
Um, but I at this point, it's like I don't really care too much about the rank, but at the same time, I put in all this work and I want to make something like meaningful out of it. And I don't mean
Sure.
like fame or anything like that. I just mean like, I don't know if there's some way I could help people with it, like, which sounds odd, but
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. You want to help people. You know, pretty much you want to give them the help that you wish you had at the start.
well,
Is that sort of the thing that I'm getting?
I mean, I guess part of it too is like I kind of think that like I put in all this work, and then if I throw it away, nothing came of it. At this point, I don't know. I want to be helpful to people some way, or make them realize that it's not all that impressive being up there, or don't kill yourself because like to play all this garbage, because once you get up there, it's like you don't really get much out of it, I guess, is what I'm
No,
saying.
you don't.
You get almost nothing out of it, and it kind of consumed me for a while there, life wise. But I don't know. I mean, a lot goes on in my head about it. It's kind of a mental conundrum that I'm still trying to sort out. So,
It
uh,
did definitely consume me during parts of my life. So, for example, when me and my long-term girlfriend broke up, and I was in like not a great place, I really went like ham on trophies because that was pretty much like all I felt I had at that point. So but once you pull yourself out, you realize how stupid that is, and how killing yourself over trophies, staying up for 24 hours, and doing nothing but grinding games is not what you should be doing.
yeah,
Um, it's not great for your mental health to kill yourself over it. But I mean, by all means, if you're going to spend a Friday night on it, at least make sure that you're having laughs with friends, or you're actually enjoying yourself and not just doing it because you feel like you have to.
yeah. Good points. Um, I guess one final thing. It's probably kind of backtracking a bunch, but before trophies, I know you said you do play games that are for fun, like the first playthrough, if it's a good game that you're gonna like. But before trophies compared to after trophies came out, does it feel a lot different? Like, has it changed your gaming style a lot? Because I think about that too. I think like when I played games before, how was I playing them? And then now that trophies came out, I just play a lot of games differently. Um,
Well, I mean, I never used to play games on the hardest difficulties. I used to play them for the story, but I used to play it on like easy difficulty, or very easy difficulty, or something like that. I wouldn't usually play it on the harder difficulties, but I feel like because I started going for trophies and I've started playing on those harder difficulties, um, it's made me better at gaming as a whole. So I guess there is a little bit of positivity that comes from trophy hunting, because it's made me better over time, because I've had to go through you know modes like World of War Veteran, where you can't move forward without having 50,000 grenades chucked at you. Um, that game still gives me PTSD. But like games like that, and even harder games that you have to play on like nightmare difficulty or whatever. I feel like they made me a lot better at gaming just in general. So um, yeah, I used to play on easy difficulties. Now I don't. Another thing is I never used to really 100% games or go back for collectibles and things like that. Now I do, because I'm kind of forced to.
okay,
But
so it has
yeah,
changed yours, actually, kind of in the opposite of me, because I used to 100% things, and then like before trophies, and now that you don't have to, it's caused me to move on faster. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it seems
yeah.
like we're
So
very different styles of gamers. It's almost
mm,
like we never, like, almost opposites in senses. Like, I am not a shooter fan. It sounds like you are not a completionist. Um, and then I'm kind of the
it
opposite of that.
yeah, depends on how you really phrase completionist. So like, I've never really played RPGs, to be completely honest with you. So like, for those, I don't really have an opinion on whether I'd be a completionist or not. I might get fully engrossed in the game. I don't really know. But like, I usually play a game like all a game has to offer, regardless of the game. So you know, like even back when when trophies, I didn't even know trophies were a thing. I was if there was a say there was a zombies mode, a campaign mode, and a multiplayer mode. I'd usually always play the campaign first. I'd go into the zombies. I'd play that. I'd play the multiplayer for a lot, and then friends would say, "Oh, let's jump into the other mode," and I'd go into the other mode and play that. But I'd usually always play everything a game had to offer. Um, but I'd never like go back for all collectibles and things like that unless it had some added replayability added to it, like an extra mode or something like that. that I thought was interesting or that I'd want to play. Otherwise, I'd never go back to the single player, for example.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we could start wrapping things up. Unless, do you got anything else you want to talk about?
Um, Not really. I mean, over time your gaming style evolves, so things become more interesting. So I don't know. I feel like speedrunning, for example, has become a real interest of mine, even though I'm not very good at it. So I don't know where I was going with that. Really, it's just like over time your gaming style evolves. You're gonna be interested in different things. So don't be afraid to try new games, even if it's gonna lower your percentage. I guess. I don't know where I was going with that. It's where I am.
Well, I mean, I feel that way too. I mean, it could be that I'm just kind of over trophy spamming as well, and it's not as interesting to me anymore. But um, yeah, I'm kind of in I kind of want to do more of an experimental, try out more games phase. I feel like my gaming style has definitely changed over the since I was no, it's probably always changing, but
I feel like trophies is also a good thing because because you're playing so many different genres of games, you'll find other genres that you actually enjoy as well, and
yeah, but
different styles.
you also don't play them the same way because of the trophies. At least I don't. So
Not all games, but I mean, games that are short anyway. For example, like narrative-based games, I would have never have tried those if the trophies weren't there. But now, I very much enjoy narrative-based games like Telltale games and things like that. So, you'll find games that you do enjoy through trophies. I feel as well.
yeah, as long as you play the good stuff, or the better,
That's yeah,
the actual game. All
that's
right.
right.
So I guess we'll just end it here. You want to give out your social media links or whatever, or ways people can
Yeah.
contact you?
So you can follow me on Twitter at the Nitro. I think it's the Nitro X with a zero because I'm very edgy like that, and on YouTube and Twitch at Nitro PSN as well. So
Yeah, I'll put the
yeah,
links in the description if you could maybe Discord them to me or something.
yeah, I
I'll
can do
put
that
them in
after
the
this.
description of the video, so you guys can follow this Nitro fellow. You can follow me on Twitch and Twitter, and my links will be in the description as well.
And you should subscribe here as well.
Well, thank you, and I don't even have to feel bad about self promoting.
You should like the video, comment, subscribe, share it with all your friends, and say how much of a beast I am.
Yes, that's the reason to do it. All right, so with that being said, everybody, yeah, also if there's comments about feedback, about questions, you feel like I left out, I think this is good. I think this is pretty good insight. It's good talking with someone that's I'm actually surprised how opposite our gaming styles are now that I talked with you. But
Yeah, it's interesting, definitely.
yeah, it's like the only reason that we know each other is from leaderboards and spammy plats.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. So different, which is crazy to think about, really.
yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, I'll ponder some of these thoughts and whatnot, and hopefully you got something out of it. Maybe opened up your minds a little bit, and
Been a very long therapy session for you.
no, I find this interesting. I'm trying to figure out just different styles of people, like different gaming styles, different things, reasons why trophies are selling games, and why people are compelled to get them, and why people are proud to get them, and just all sorts of stuff going on in my crazy mind, and I'm trying to make sense of stuff. But with that being said, everybody have a good night, good morning, enjoy your games. thanks for watching. Thanks so much, Nitro, for coming on.
Thanks for having me,
And
Matt. Appreciate it.
hopefully, I will see you guys again next time. Goodbye, everybody.